What's up guys, Sebastian here from Grace Vintage. Today we'll be talking about the Friedman BE-50 Deluxe. This, in the words of Dave Friedman, is the greatest amplifier that he has ever built. And it's an amp that really gives you an infinite palette of colors to really tweak your sound and go anywhere from glassy cleans to hard rock crunch. Looking at the front plate, the first thing that you see is the clean channel that has a 3-band EQ and the volume control. And then you have a bright switch that is independent to this channel. And it's sort of like an AC style clean that just pairs up really well with single coils or humbuckers. Moving on to the gain channels, you have the channel 1 that is based on the BE-100. This is sort of like the moderate gain channel. You can go anywhere from a Plexi to a hot rodded Marshall. And then the secondary gain channel is based on the HBE-100. That is the ultra high gain. Think of like the Jerry Cantrell metal trashy sound. You have an independent volume and gain for each channel, and then a shared EQ. You then have a voice control that sort of like shapes your mids, and then you have a fat switch that kind of like bumps up your low mid. This is great for when you're jumping from a guitar that has humbuckers to single coils, and then a channel switch that allows you to toggle between all 3 channels. Then towards the end, you have 3 basic controls that allow you to really shape not only the way the amp sounds, but also the way it feels in a way. Thump is sort of like the punch of the cabinet. It's kind of like the low end that is not too bassy, but that you feel mostly. If you stand right in front of the amp and you crank that control, you're gonna feel air blowing on your legs. Then you have the response control, which is sort of the brightness. Let's say if you have a guitar that is pretty dark sounding, like a Les Paul compared to a Telecaster, this is what would give it kind of like that chimey high end. And then finally, the presence is the outer part of the high end spectrum. It's kind of like the harsh frequencies that sometimes you want to dial back on your brightest guitars. Moving to the back, you have an effects loop that has a return level. Think of this as a secondary master control. And then you have an EL34 power section that gives you 50 watts of power. This is if you run it on the full pentode mode. You can also turn that down to a triode, giving you 25 watts of power. And this is the mode that we have it in today. At 25, you can really start to give it some juice and crank that power section to get a tiny bit of power distortion. And in our opinion, this is the best way to run these amps. It just sounds really good that way. Then you have a saturation control that changes the way the amp responds as far as compression and saturation. And then you have a gain structure switch that changes the amount of gain that the drive channels are gonna give you. This is also gonna affect the volume and the way the amp feels. It's kind of like a switch that goes from hard rock to heavy metal. So as you can see, this amp doesn't lack in features. It sounds really good, whether you wanna do the classic Plexi thing, the Voxy cleans, or just the super heavy Mesa-like distortion sounds. This is just the ultimate amplifier, and the cherry on top is that it's built here in the US and it is hand-wired. For guitars, we'll be using this 1959 Gibson Les Paul double cut that is just killer, and then we'll be using a master-built Strat. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find out more about this rig, check out the links down below in the description. While you're there, visit our website, waltgracevintage.com, and there we have tons of cool stuff from cars to guitars, coffee watches, and a lot more. If you guys want to support the channel, give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And for more content like this, follow us on Instagram at @waltgracevintage. My name is Sebastian. Till next time.